Talk about Jefferson City. Believe it or not, there is a legislative session going on, and we have reached the halfway point. Brenda Talent with the Show Me Institute, CEO of the Show Me Institute, here to talk about it. Good morning, Brenda.
Good morning, McGraw.
What is going on down in Jefferson City? Is there any work actually being done?
Well, there's a lot of activity,
Okay.
And as we all know, oftentimes we don't see bills cross the finish line until the last day because, heaven forbid that, in fact, people get things done in advance.
Right.
There haven't been a lot of bills that have crossed the finish line that are sitting on the governor's desk. I mean, if you look at the bills, there are things like, well, we're going to commemorate Sliced Bread Day. I mean, that's gotten across the finish line.
That was actually, I didn't know that sliced bread was invented in Missouri, so that was actually kind of interesting.
It is kind of interesting, but, really, given the things that are facing our state, can't we do a little bit more? So I've got what I call the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that there are tax reform bills making their way through the House and the Senate. Course access is making its way across the different houses.
What is core access? What does that mean?
Course access, where it's like virtual learning, so that if you're a student in a public school and and you're in a school district that doesn't offer AP Calculus, you can take it online. So that there's actually a bill to allow you to do that because we don't do that right now.
Okay.
Raise the age, which is a bill which would say right now in Missouri we're one of the few states that presumes when you're 17 that you should be tried as an adult. We're going to raise the age to 18, which is what most states do right now.
Okay.
So those look like they're going to be moving forward. The bad is, of course...
Hold on a second. The Show Me Institute has an opinion on the raise the age to 18?
We actually did provide testimony on that because when you look at the studies, what you find is that if you take, obviously there are carve-outs for people who engage in particularly violent crimes or gang-related activity, but for a person who's 17, if you put them through the juvenile system, they have a much greater chance of not being a recidivist, that actually they can become a productive community member because the resources available to those in the juvenile system are more geared towards helping them integrate back into society. If you try them as an adult, then there are also other costs associated with that because if they go to prison, you actually have to segregate them because of their age.
Right.
But they're not in the juvenile system.
Maybe we should try some of that juvenile stuff for the regular criminals.
There are definitely different options and alternatives that should be made available. A number of think tanks like ours have studied that and talked about it.
Yeah.
Texas Public Policy being one of them. But
sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but it was...
Well, it is your show.
That is exactly right. I wish everybody else would remember that. All right, go ahead. Continue. I'm sorry.
The ugly is the fact that when we look at these tax reform bills, we really don't see any substantive changes happening with economic development credits. In other words, our government continuing to pick winners and losers when our state gives so many out. And then I would say, the ugly was that charter school study task force that you and I talked about not too long ago, where we want to study charter schools for 22 months because we really don't want to do anything about them. So, we've got about 6-7 weeks to see what happens. They're on spring break right now. I know that a lot of people have the attitude when the legislature's not taking action, that's a good thing.
Right.
But there are a number of items that really could help our state grow and our citizens prosper, and it'd be nice to see them make it across the line.
Well, I know you're a non-political and you're just sort of a think tank, but how much is this governor's controversy going to get in the way of all of this stuff?
So this is Brenda's take on all of it.
Yeah.
I think it's a convenient excuse for saying we have a distraction. But, McGraw, I found in my life that I can walk and chew gum at the same time, particularly if I'm careful about it. So I would say that the legislature, they'll talk about that, but they've got a committee. They've got a lot of committees, but there's a committee specifically looking at this particular issue.
Right.
And so really business should continue. And, it's what does the Larry the Cable Guy say? Get her done.
Ladies and gentlemen, that is the political insight of Brenda Talent. Walk and chew gum at the same time. I'm not so sure, though, the people down in Jefferson City have that same skill as you do, walking and chewing gum at the same time, but we can always hope. More on this online?
ShowMeInstitute.org.
Yeah. All right, good. Thanks, Brenda. Have a good